The contract for NASA's Project Artemis human landing system has finally been awarded to SpaceX, but how will Elon Musk's business transport NASA's people to the moon's surface? NASA is preparing to resume sending people to the moon after a long pause. The Space Exploration Agency is launching Project Artemis to accomplish this, but it will go about it in a unique way. It is turning to commercial enterprises for a major component of Project Artemis, rather than developing the vehicle to the moon entirely in-house. The goal is for NASA to transport astronauts to the moon in its own space capsule, the Orion, which will be launched by its own rocket, the Space Launch System, or SLS. When Orion reaches the moon's orbit, it will connect with a lunar lander, which the astronauts will board and be lowered to the moon's surface. The Orion capsule will connect with the Gateway, a small space station circling the moon, at some point in the future before being transferred to the human landing system. The lunar lander will remain on the moon for about a week while the astronauts complete their tasks before returning to the Orion space capsule, which will be waiting in orbit for the return journey. If you've seen our previous videos, you'll know that SpaceX beat out two other contenders for the $2.89 billion contract to build the lander, including Alabama-based Dianetics and a coalition known as National Team, which included Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Draper. In an unexpected move, NASA decided to go all in with SpaceX instead of its customary approach of allocating the same contract to two businesses in order to boost competition and avoid repetition. The main reason given was a lack of funds, as NASA is having difficulty obtaining the necessary financing for the human landing system from Congress. It just does not have the financial resources to have two companies working on the same project. Out of the $3.4 billion asked, it received only $850 million. Other factors included SpaceX's proposal's technological advantages, despite being the least priced. Blue Origin is waging a two-pronged assault on NASA's contract award. Pursuing remedy through the United States Government Accountability Office, as well as pushing a bill amendment through Congress that would allow NASA to spend up to $10 billion on the human lander. Let's take a closer look at the contract signed by SpaceX and the clever way it intends to carry it out. By the way, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to our channel, where we keep you up to date on all the latest news from Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX. It only takes a few seconds to subscribe, and while you're there, if you could leave a like on the video, that would be greatly appreciated. Before the mission is completed, SpaceX may end up spending as much of its own money as NASA. Surprisingly, the conditions of the agreement differ significantly from those of a standard module purchase from a corporation. NASA chose to pay a private space business a fixed amount for the construction of a lander, but the lander will be owned by the company, in this case, SpaceX. The advantage of NASA is that the price is set, and SpaceX will be accountable for any budget overruns, which will certainly occur. In the future, NASA will acquire continued landing services from SpaceX, with the money already spent factored in. NASA had allocated money to the National Team, SpaceX, and Dianetics in the initial round of the contract to develop their concepts before selecting SpaceX. If SpaceX is able to finish the project on time and on budget, that simply implies greater profit for the company. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time NASA has done something similar, since the same vehicle was used to transfer astronauts and equipment to the International Space Station. It appears that by signing this deal, SpaceX is taking a significant risk, however this is not the case. First, SpaceX is revising Starship, their reusable spaceship rocket system, which means that NASA's money will not be used to develop something from scratch. The Starship has been created by SpaceX to be multi-purpose, capable of transporting colonists to Mars, astronauts to the Moon, and moving from one location on Earth to another. It's also engineered to launch and land vertically, rather than as junk spread around at sea. Several prototypes have exploded into flames as they attempt to accomplish the difficult maneuver required to land on their legs, indicating that SpaceX is still polishing the landing vertical aspect. SpaceX will spend the $2.89 billion to fund the modification of their spaceship, as well as one unpiloted landing test and one crew demonstration landing. This is when things start to get interesting. NASA may not even use the spacecraft they paid for. Remember how we said NASA was going to buy SpaceX's continued landing services? It turns out that the landing services are up for bid, with NASA selecting the best alternative. If they continue to develop their concepts with their own money, the national team, or Dianetics, may possibly provide the lunar lander. However, they would like to employ government funds, which is one major advantage for SpaceX, as you will see later throughout this video. Do you ever wonder why NASA refuses to allow SpaceX to transport its astronauts from Earth to the Moon, despite the fact that its spacecraft is equipped to do so? Unfortunately, there are various reasons for this, the most important of which being that NASA does not trust it yet. Although SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket booster has landed upright, it has not done so while carrying a hefty crew capsule. The Starship, on the other hand, is much heavier than the Falcon 9, making landing even more difficult. Its booster, dubbed the Super Heavy, has yet to fly for the first time. That isn't to say that NASA doesn't have faith in SpaceX. SpaceX is the only commercial firm that has delivered and returned NASA's people to the International Space Station. The Space Launch System and Orion, which were included into the 2010 NASA authorization bill, are the second reason. Continue to have the backing of the Senate. It also employs tens of thousands of individuals throughout the United States. Any attempt to separate the two will result in a lot of backlash, and NASA would prefer avoid being involved in lawsuits and bad headlines. Such circumstances are relatively uncommon in programs of this magnitude that are not privately managed. Thus, for the time being, NASA will use both the SLS and Orion to deliver its people to the Moon's surface. So, what is NASA's advantage in awarding the lunar lander contract to SpaceX? The answer lies in the true nature of Project Artemis. While everyone's attention is currently focused on going to the Moon, Project Artemis is truly a Moon to Mars mission. Traveling to Mars is not the same as going to the Moon. For example, astronauts can connect with the Earth almost instantly from the Moon, but will face a 10-minute delay if they do it from Mars, which is complicated by the limited launch window. NASA has chosen to work with SpaceX because they share the same aim of reaching Mars, even if their incentives are different. Musk has been outspoken in his support for establishing a permanent human habitation on Mars, even suggesting that the mission would be a one-way trip for the pioneers. It is also constructing a spacecraft capable of making the long journey. It makes sense for NASA to invest in what SpaceX is doing, as they will be able to send a vehicle to the Moon and to Mars in one fell swoop. For SpaceX, the Moon is only a pit stop on the way to developing its Mars exploration mission, and it is simply getting free government money to do it. It should also come as no surprise that NASA decided to support the Starship since it is technologically superior than the Blue Origin's national teams and Dianetics' projected lunar landers. Is SpaceX on track to reach the 2024 deadline? Musk is certain that his business will not postpone Project Artemis. What are your thoughts on SpaceX's plan to send a Starship to the Moon? Let us know your thoughts on the topic in the comments section below. A quick reminder to subscribe to our channel. There's a link down below for more Tesla news and conjecture. If you want to learn more about Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon Musk, we have 2 more video alternatives for you to watch on the screen. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more weekly news like this.